Hey guys, we are back. Week 24 Fantasy Outlook. Derek is going to bring you all the great information as usual. For those of you who watch this, I just turn it over to Derek now. So here is Derek, and he always, does a good job for us. So, I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Derek, the floor is yours.
Well, welcome to week 24, guys. There's not going to be much new this week. We have two teams on bye. The Columbus Crew and the Montreal Impact are going to be on bye this week. There's no double game weeks. There's single game weeks for everyone. Your transfers will be due on the 13th at 7 p.m. That coincides with the start of the New York City DC United game. Last week, I ended up with 115 points. Not a bad total in itself. I think it was 8 double game week players, 8 or 9. My captain pick did not work out. Piatti only had 6 points. I'm really not sure what to say. They struggled at home this week. It's good for us. It's good for Orlando City, actually. Montreal dropped 6 points at home this week. I think they lost 2 1-0 games. But Piatti only had 6 regular points. He had 12 as the captain. I know a lot of people, they were concerned about captaining Jovinko due to the heel. I don't care if he's playing with a torn ACL. I'm going to captain him now. 28 points this week. 28. He had 19 against Orlando City, 9 against Kansas City. Ridiculous week for him. 56 points is probably the highest by far. The highest point total I saw this week was actually 137 points, and that's exactly how many I would have had if I had Captain Jovinko. So, am I mad with 115 points? Hell no. It could have been better, but at least I moved up. I think it was 17 spots in the Orlando City League, so that's always a good thing to see a green arrow next to your name. I really got no new sleepers for you. If you've been watching the show the past few weeks, you know I've been talking about the budget options, especially in the midfield, like Seren and Sebastian Lletget. Those are players that can help you get higher price players like a Robbie Keane, like we'll talk about another one in a bit, Benny Faulhaber type players. And speaking of Faulhaber, he does have a double game week here coming in week 25. We're going to keep this sweet and short. For those of you who saw LA and Seattle, you saw Gio Dos Santos play really well. You saw the entire LA Galaxy team play really well. Dos Santos ended up with a assist on the Robbie Keane goal, and he ended up with the goal of his own in their 3-1 win. If you can afford Dos Santos, do it. Just do it. He's going to play just about every game, last 10 games. LA's front six is probably the best front six MLS has ever had. Between Keane, Zardes, Juninho, Gerard, Lletget, and Dos Santos, if you can get any of those 4 or any of the 6 on your team, if you can combine them, you're going to be good. It's just I don't know when their next double game week is. So, but 11 points in his first game in MLS. He only played 68 minutes. That's always a good sign to see. LA does not have the hardest schedule coming up. They play FC Dallas in Dallas this week. That's probably their hardest game for about another 5 weeks. They play NYC at home. That should be an absolute wreck fest. They have a couple of other easy games. They have Montreal at home. It's just play your Galaxy players and forget about it. So, and another thing, I did not mention this earlier this week, be careful of the CONCACAF Champions League teams. We're talking your Vancouver Whitecaps, your Seattle Sounders, Real Salt Lake, and the Galaxy. I took a -4 this week to get rid of Javier Morales just in case. He would not play this week. He did not play this week. And Real Salt Lake lost 4-0 on the road. Just be careful these CONCACAF Champions League teams, especially if they're traveling to another country. Because I dropped all Real Salt Lake players. They were playing in Guatemala this week, and 3 days later they're playing in Vancouver. Tassar chose to play for the Champions League and not for your fantasy team, but that doesn't matter. He's got a Champions League to win. That's up to him. Let's see what else. Yeah, so just keep an eye on that. It's kind of like Gold Cup. Just watch those players. You probably own some of them. Those are very good teams. So they're probably going to play for the Champions League. We do have another DGW coming up week 25. I'll talk to you more about that later. 4 teams for that will be NYC, Sporting Kansas City, San Jose, and Columbus. If you are able to pick up another player, keep your lineup without dropping a player from one of those 4 teams, do it. I'm going to pick up Benny Faulhaber this week. He's been playing really well lately. I'm expecting 20 points from him for that double game week. Hopefully, it's not their hardest double game week. I'm trying to find a way to keep Kai Kamara this week. I want him for week 25. His first game is at home against New York City. We all know the absolute dumpster fire New York is defensively. I don't give a shit how many not defensive players, how many designated players you have. If you cannot defend in this league, you're not going to win. And New York cannot defend worth a damn. Let's see. We'll talk about more of those options later in the week. Once again, those teams are San Jose, Columbus, Sporting Kansas City, and New York City. I'd kind of avoid New York City for that. They're going to Columbus and to LA. Those are 2 very hard games for them. Let's see what else I got for you all today. This is going to be a very short episode. Like I said, we're only having single game weeks this week. Captain's pick. After last week, there is no way I'm not giving the armband to Jovinko. I have to. I absolutely have to right now. He's been on fire. He's taken the most shots in the league by far. Very aggressive player. Toronto picked up Hercules Gomez. They're a very good team. I forgot who they were playing this week. Hopefully we get a good 8 to 10 points out of Jovinko for your cap, and that'd be good for y'all. Let's see what else. Other than that, there was a couple of other picks. We had watch Kyle Larin this week. We know we recommended him, but it's been a few games since we scored. We are playing in Seattle this week. I don't know what's going on with Orlando. Our options are not very good right now. Just let's see if he scores in Seattle this week. He'll need to break the rookie record, but I'm still keeping him on my team. He's not an expensive option, and he's scored enough goals where I can keep him on my team, so you can afford higher midfield options. Just beware of new additions to these teams also. A lot of these teams have been using that targeted allocation money, that new TAM, to add to their teams, and I don't know how many of them have actually played in games, let alone would be good fantasy options. The best one by far would be Dos Santos. I think 11 teams in MLS have used that money so far. Just watch them, especially New York used it too. A lot of these teams are adding a lot of depth, so you don't know how many of your players are going to go 90 minutes now. Just stick with your options you've been going with and wait till you see how these players play in MLS, because it's always an adjustment to this league. So I can't think of much else for you. I mean, I can discuss my transfer strategy. I really don't want to. I got like $6 in the bank, so that's going to be a good little amount of money to work with. You got any questions, Sam?
No, I don't have any questions. Did you have any fan questions?
Not today, but that's pretty much all I got for y'all this week. Like I said, it's going to be a very short episode. There was nothing extraordinary that I had to share with y'all. Good luck this week. Remember, double game week next week. And remember one thing I want to say. Unlimited transfers in week 27. I think half of MLS is on bye that week. It was at least 8 to 12 teams on bye that week. So just know you have a chance to start fresh in week 27. We'll discuss that later. That's pretty much all I got for y'all this week.
All right. Well, there is week 24 for you guys. If you have any questions for Derek, you can get him on Twitter at Rays1299. He is always answering the questions that people have. So thanks again, Derek. The fan channel appreciates your hard work, and I hope the viewers do too. Peace out.
Yeah.